Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. How are we all today? I think it's been 2 years since I've had the honor of being here. So I'd just like to do a quick microphone check for all the wonderful souls at the end of this room. Can you put your hand up for me? Because you are very important to me. Every single person here. So I have a bit of a hard task today because I get to follow some amazing young poets. Everybody from all the schools that recited poetry, you genuinely moved me. I can read poetry from all over the world, but when something comes out of your soul and it's in front of an audience live, there's something timeless about that. So thank you very much for all the poets that came before. I really appreciate that. So I often get asked what would my advice be for the youth, for the future generation, and this particular poem is my advice to everybody growing up in a very interesting world that we live in. And I do not title my poetry, I just write them, and that's enough honor for me. Forget about growing up. It's nothing but a trick. Forget about growing up. It's nothing but a trick. Far better to grow down into the rich, dark earth of your own uniqueness of being. This world has more grown-ups than it could ever need. What's missing are the grown down, grounded souls. Is this better, ladies and gentlemen? I'm a little more free now. During the night or in the afternoon, I am a martial arts instructor. I move for a living. I got into a lot of trouble in school because I couldn't stay still. I wasn't a mischievous boy. I wasn't out to disrupt anything. I just could not sit still. I had to move. So if you have any person in your school that just wants to move, please say hello to him or her for me. I feel their pain, and I hope they grow up one day to move. Whether it's physical movement, the movement of your heart, the movement of your emotions, move. It's very important. So I'm very happy to move a little bit. Okay, so I often have a little bit of a debate with my son. He is 10 years old, Salim. And Salim does not like my poetry at all. And I appreciate that, and I respect that. And he says, Baba, your poetry doesn't rhyme. Poems have to rhyme. Your stuff doesn't rhyme. So how can it be poetry? And I completely respect that opinion. There are people, and I'm sure you're amongst us in the room here today, that do have a very specific construct of what poetry is and what it is not. And you are absolutely entitled to that. I, on the other hand, cannot function in certain confines. But just to recognize my son's opinion, this poem is a little bit more towards his liking. This was the land of my ancestors, where finding sweet water was a daily fight, where daily the work of survival was a grinding, epic plight. The great dive brought home many gems that seemed as though they dimmed the moon, but left so many youth behind, whose lives were dimmed too soon. The noble palm tree gave us shelter and kept our bodies from the sun. It gave us food and shade and rest. Its generosity second to none. Despite the harshness of the land, its people smiled and found a way to live with little to claim for their own, yet they still managed to freely give. The fish flowed from sea to land, and we desert dwellers could eat like kings. The bounty both fed us and gave us the means to barter for other needed things. Although we carried always with us the cold protection of daggers and guns, yet warmly we welcomed our visitors with coffee and spoke with them of our daughters and sons. With many of the youth, and when I say youth, I don't mean a particular age. I think you can be 55, 65, 75, 85 and still be youthful. And I think you can be 10 years old and be an elder and a person that has a lot of wisdom. So when I say youth here, I genuinely mean a state of mind or a state of soul as opposed to a particular age. So with a lot of youth, the question of identity, who am I, where am I from, what am I supposed to do, what is my purpose in the world, these are very, very important questions. This is something to play about with if that is your inclination. I cannot tell you what or who you are, but I can tell you what and who you are not. You are not a nationality or a tribe, no matter how much you love your land and your people. You are not a race, a bloodline, a member of a religion, sect, or any other way of thinking. You are not an accident. You were not born empty, and you are not here to be filled. The idea behind that particular poem is the opposite of what your mainstream nihilism philosophies are in this today's world. I believe, like the ancient people, whether you come from the Arab world with its very ancient civilization, India, Africa, we're talking people with very, very, very old civilizations, far older, with all my respect to the Western civilization. They're babies compared to the experience that we have had. Rather ill babies, I would say. Babies that are in need of healing, and I think we're all here to heal and help one another. But in old civilizations, when somebody is born, you often go visit them, right? You go visit somebody who has a kid. Now, you might not know these people individually. The reason, we might not know it yet, but the reason we go visit people when they have a child is because you're welcoming a human soul coming into the world with something to give. This is not a baby that's born empty for you to be filling it up with anything. This baby has arrived with something. When we go visit them, we're visiting that something that will one day emerge from this baby and be shared with the rest of the world. Okay, so the next one, because I apologize if I caused any trouble with time. I do cause some trouble in my life, but I like to think of it as good trouble as opposed to bad. You may know our land by its luxury cars, twisting flyovers, and modern skyscrapers. But we, the natives of these lands, are far older than all of that. We are an ancient people who found a way to survive the harshness of the desert. The only luxury we had was the desert breeze. The only luxury we had was the desert breeze under the shades of palm trees. With little to eat, we fed our souls. With little to drink, we watered our dreams. For centuries, we made do with simple necessities. Even our rulers, Even our rulers knew the taste of hunger and despair. We have so much more to offer the world than malls and stores. In us is a story, an ancient yet timeless story that is a story of the world, a story of daggers, palm trees, and pearls. Okay. All right, last one, and this very strange man will disappear. So I think 2 years ago, there was one poem that played about with a question. So I'm going to leave you all with a question and bid you farewell. What is your name? Not your birth name, but the name you had before you were born. What's the name you were given in the eternal world before you arrived here? What song were you sent with? What dance were you taught? What fiery idea were you entrusted to deliver to us in this cold place? What medicine do you hold within you to cure our many ailments? Speak to us now. Don't make us wait anymore. You are here. You have arrived. And we have been waiting for so long. So tell me, please, what is your name? Shukran. Thank you.